We don't see this trend towards fee only ending anytime soon. So as we continue to grow our business, having a key partner like DPL becomes even more critical for us.
Hear why this $4 billion plus firm trusts DPL to help support and transition advisors into fee-only business models and commission-free solutions. You're listening to Advisor Revelations.
Welcome in, everyone. This is Eric Payne, Membership Team Lead for DPL Financial Partners. Welcome to the Advisor Revelations podcast. I'm joined today by Russ Reinhart, CFP and Managing Director of Wealthcare Capital Management. Russ, welcome to the podcast. I appreciate you taking some time to join us today and sharing your thoughts with our listeners.
Sure, Eric. Thanks for having me, and always happy to jump on the line and talk with you.
We really appreciate it. So, Russ, obviously we have a lot that we want to discuss on the podcast here today, but we've been working with Wealthcare for almost a year now. Before we dive into some of the topics that we want to get to today, would you mind just sharing a little bit of background on Wealthcare as a firm and as well as your background and your role with the firm?
I am both an advisor, leveraging the Wealthcare RA and technology platform for my client business, but I also lead the sales and development efforts over here at Wealthcare. So the best way to describe Wealthcare is that we are a tech-enabled RA, and our claim to fame is that we are one of the first goals-based financial planning softwares in the industry. So our business model was essentially to license GDX 360 planning software to large RAs and broker-dealers. And at one point, we had over 20,000 advisors around the country leveraging that software through institutional relationships. Wealthcare evolved, and we created additional technologies and services around this differentiated planning process. So I came into the picture when Wealthcare really had pivoted from being purely a planning software-focused company to more of a turnkey ecosystem for independent advisors to affiliate and run their businesses. So a little bit about me, I started my career as a financial advisor and planner right out of college. And like most advisors, I started off leveraging the traditional broker-dealer model. I was introduced to Wealthcare and their GDX 360 planning software, and I was hooked. I felt that it was a game changer for how I wanted to build my business and support my clients. I started working with Wealthcare and showing other advisors how I used this turnkey planning investment process with my clients. It really resonated, and we started to have a lot of success finding some really incredible advisors that chose to join and partner with the Wealthcare RA. So over the last 5 to 6 years, we've grown to become an RA with over $4 billion in assets and a little bit more than 100 advisors that are affiliated.
Through the process of getting to know you guys and forming the relationship through the DPL membership, you guys are a unique model in the industry, in the RIA space, and that technology has been and continues to be a big part of that, as well as it is for DPL, and we'll touch on that. Thinking about when you guys first came on as a member, you guys do have a unique model in the way that you serve advisors and their clients in this space. You were looking for a partner who could provide support in a number of different areas related to fee-based insurance. Just through your experience so far, what's kind of been the biggest need that you've seen when it comes to fee-based insurance, and perhaps share some insight as to how DPL's provided some solutions to those needs?
Yeah, definitely. Something that we put a lot of energy and resources into exploring. And as you mentioned, we are unique in the sense that we have a lot of new advisors that join every year. And we are very much a planning-centric firm. About half of those advisors that join us are fee-only or IAR only. Another half are hybrid advisors. A lot of those hybrid advisors look at Wealthcare as a vehicle or platform to get them to fee-only. As a technology company and an RA platform, we are far from experts at annuities and insurance, but a lot of the advisors that join us recommend insurance and annuities as part of their client's financial plan. So we got to the point a few years ago where we recognized two things. One, the need for a suite of fee-based annuity and insurance solutions, but also, and maybe even more importantly, we needed an expert partner that could help us really transition our advisors into these solutions. It's one thing to be able to provide a list of low-cost fee-based insurance products, and a whole nother to actually help advisors transition to those solutions. So the DPL suite of commission-free solutions usually covers the majority of what our advisors need, but the transition support that you guys provide of converting existing commission-based products is really critical to our success in helping advisors go fee-only when they choose to.
We talk about it all the time, and it's really no secret at this point. I mean, the RIA space is growing rapidly, and more advisors and firms are, seeking to find ways to get to that fee-only model. If you're not including insurance in the financial plan, you ought to be. And now that there's more fee-based solutions, readily available to advisors and able to fit within their business model and fit within their desktop from a technology standpoint, it's really coming a long way in terms of being able to make it a part of the holistic financial planning process. One of the things that I found interesting about your firm when you came on board is kind of what you were talking about, that there's a couple of different buckets, if you will, the folks that are more of the hybrid variety who are, maybe looking to make that transition to being fee only and have some, legacy assets or commission-based assets that they would like to convert to fee-based. And then there's the others that are, RIA only. Perhaps they just haven't really had the resources or the ability to include insurance. And I've really enjoyed, hearing from our team that works more day to day with your advisors on implementing these solutions, just kind of hearing how that process has been, no matter which bucket they fall into. So I'd be curious to hear from your perspective how that process has looked when it comes to transitions.
Yeah, I think that's very well said. And you're right. Every advisor transition scenario is a little bit different. We never see the same one twice. We've had a little over 40 advisors, I'd say, join in the last 2 years. A lot of advisors come to us as lifelong broker-dealer advisors. Most of them think that they need a broker-dealer in order to continue to recommend annuities and insurance to their clients. It's often an aha moment when we segment advisors' brokerage business and show them that they can do the majority of their traditional commission-based annuities and insurance business under the Wealthcare RIA using DPL. This is where our DPL team, as you mentioned, Leslie, Blake, yourself, step in, help us look a lot better during this transition process because we aren't experts on this. And it's a great resource to have, a trusted partner that can work with our new advisors and help them transition their current annuity insurance business to commission-free alternatives if they choose to. This is both for what we're finding our existing business when they come over via the exchanges or so forth, as well as helping advisors win new business via proposals and comparisons. It's definitely a process. Every advisor is a little bit different, but the partnership has definitely accelerated our ability to bring on new advisors, especially those advisors that are looking to make that dramatic change from dually registered or hybrid to fee only.
And, it's always a fun thing for advisors when they realize, hey, I can actually still get compensated by using these fee-based products. It's just through an advisory fee as opposed to a commission. So I was curious about, prior to working with DPL, if the majority of them were doing any insurance business prior to Wealthcare partnering with DPL. More so, since you kind of touched on that already, if there was a change and realizing that you need to start utilizing insurance and looking for a solution like what DPL provides, what kind of prompted that change for you guys?
All of our partner advisors are independent. They choose if and how they want to incorporate insurance annuities into their business. And what we found was a lot of them do, and they would be leveraging the broker-dealers, insurance platforms, or outside agencies, IMOs, FMOs, all of which, for the most part, are commission-based platforms, I believe. But the big change was for the portion of advisors that wanted to consolidate their business into reoccurring advisory revenue, and or maybe being able to present themselves as a fee-only advisor. Most advisors join Wealthcare in order to gain efficiencies in their workflows and often look for help in creating enterprise value in their business. By consolidating and unifying into fee-based solutions, they can better achieve those objectives. So I think that is probably the biggest change, preaching those concepts of unifying your business, creating that reoccurring revenue stream, and ultimately enterprise value and efficiencies in the advisor's business.
Always good to understand the process that firms go through when ultimately they're, deciding to come on board as a DPL member firm and what that means to them. So shifting gears a little bit, just thinking in terms of fee-based insurance in general, why do you think it's important perhaps now more than ever, for advisors to be in the fee-based space?
It's a good conversation to have, and something that we're always working with prospective advisors and our existing advisors to help them transform their business. And there are a ton of successful advisors out there that are heavily commission-based and have really figured out a good approach to servicing their clients through that model. But we kind of see there are a lot of headwinds in the industry, like fee compression, aging advisor demographics, rise in the client adoption of direct investment channels like Robinhood, among others. To combat these headwinds, I think advisors really need to find ways to provide a better experience to their clients. And a big part of that is improving client outcomes. So advisors need now more than ever to help their clients control the controllable by controlling fees, taxes, and aligning their client goals with the investment objective or approach that they're implementing. I think this very tightly aligns with what DPL has done to strip out costs from their solutions. Lowering costs is a big factor of improving client outcomes, especially in financial planning modules like ours. Also, by unifying an advisor's business into a purely fee-based model, it's much easier for the retiring advisor to transition his or her clients to the successor advisor when they're ultimately ready to retire. So definitely a number of things, but that's initially what comes to mind.
Yeah, exactly. It makes sense. And cost is always going to be part of the equation. I mean, who doesn't want to lower cost? And naturally, by removing commissions, that's, a big part of the equation. Removing commissions not only helps to lower the cost, but also provides some really great solutions to those things that are top of mind. When it comes to the DPL membership, obviously you guys went through the process of getting to know us, evaluating us, doing some due diligence, ultimately deciding to become a member and going through the onboarding process or our implementation plan. And for you guys in particular, given that, you're a little unique as we've discussed today, but also just the size of your firm, being a multi-billion-dollar shop, be curious just to kind of hear your thoughts on going through that process.
We spent a lot of time doing due diligence and trying to figure out what's the best relationship or partnership. And your membership model made a lot of sense to us. We were looking for a true partnership and kind of viewed the membership as essentially bringing in an in-house expert team, maybe to support our advisors on these commission-free products and annuities insurance. After getting to know you and Tim and Leslie and others, we could tell that adding the membership felt like an extension of our Wealthcare service team. We take a lot of pride in our team members and how we treat and support our partner advisors, and we really feel like DPL puts that same emphasis on their people and service. So we got comfortable very quickly, and kind of having that commitment, that membership, gave us that feel of this is just an extension of our service offering to our partner advisors.
It's one thing to have access to a marketplace of products. Obviously, that's the vehicle that's being used to help benefit clients and help firms to grow their AUM. But we don't want to be the type of organization where we just kick you the keys and say, hey, here's a list of products. Let us know what you need. We've been in the space for several years now. And as you know, Russ, part of our mission is really to be a market leader in the commission-free space. And we have had a lot of growth and success in the early years here. The reality is that for many advisors out there, the idea of doing insurance in a fee-based, commission-free environment is still foreign to them. So we understand that, changing the mindset of advisors around using insurance in clients' plans, it's an ongoing endeavor. And so I'd be curious to hear with what you've seen with the advisors that are a part of the Wealthcare firm, any thoughts or stories or examples you can think of where you've kind of seen advisors make that shift?
I have gotten a lot of really good feedback from our advisors, and one case comes to mind where one of our advisors had a client that requested an annuity with a guaranteed income rider, and this advisor is a true planner and had his client in a GDX 360 plan with a plan confidence level of around 80%, which is good and what we consider to be in our comfort zone. The problem was that the commission-based annuities that he was proposing came with a fairly steep fee structure. So when he built in these annuities into our planning module, it actually lowered the client's probability of success, which is largely due to the high cost structure of that commission-based annuity. So ultimately, our DPL team helped the advisor line up a commission-free solution or version with comparable features. And there was a significant cost reduction. And after factoring in the guaranteed income benefit into the plan, the client confidence score actually increased. So it was kind of an eye-opening for the advisor who traditionally strayed away from annuities, as the plan analysis would often not justify it. The confidence levels would drop typically because of the cost of those annuities. So it's something that I know ultimately changed him, ended up helping him win that relationship, and something that's a story that stuck with me recently.
And that's a perfect example of seeing this thing in action, right? And the planning software we find is really the most powerful way to demonstrate that to advisors and ultimately to their clients. I mean, a big thing with our advisors is they like the fact that we're not pushy salespeople. We're not out there saying, hey, here's this fancy annuity product and all the bells and whistles and, going about it that way. We're more so focused on the math, on the economics. Hey, let's look at this objectively and see where we can improve outcomes. To kind of keep on that path, talking about financial planning software, you mentioned in the beginning sharing the background on Wealthcare that you guys really started through the goals-based financial planning software that you developed. It's very clear that you guys do keep technology at the forefront today when it comes to how you serve your advisors and your clients. For us, it's a big part of what we do as well. We've developed some online tools that are available to advisors to help to scale and automate evaluating various solutions, ultimately deciding which one makes the best fit and putting that into play for their clients and their financial plans. You kind of touched on it in your example, but just to kind of elaborate on that, how have you seen DPL helping through modeling solutions into the GDX 360 software and seeing the impact that it has on clients' plans?
My take as an advisor, I guess starting with bond yields and expected returns are very low right now. And this ultimately lowers a client's probability of success in our planning software, especially because most clients that are in retirement or nearing retirement are traditionally heavily weighted to bonds. I know the DPL team has worked with some of our advisors that have clients with a lot of longevity risk, and they help the advisor replace a portion of that traditional bond allocation with a low-cost annuity solution. So your team has been great in showing how certain solutions help address longevity risk as well as sequence of return risk.
You track along really well with the majority of the firms that we work with. I mean, of course, as we mentioned earlier, with the firms in the process of transitioning to a fee-only model, obviously 1035 exchange business is a big value add and something that we help firms with. But given the interest rate environment that we're in today and just what firms are faced with when it comes to fixed income in general, the bond alternative discussion is really what we're having most with advisors, today. I hear from our consultant teams quite often that's the majority of the business they're doing right now is just what you described. And of course, using the planning software to illustrate that, I think is a really good way to go about it, especially when you're dealing with clients and just showing them the impact.
Yeah, it's exactly right. It's powerful to allow the advisor to have multiple different scenarios that they can run through the financial planning software and the modules and really show the client how maybe certain solutions might benefit their probability of success. So I couldn't agree with you more. And we're seeing a lot more advisors starting to incorporate some of these annuity solutions as a bond surrogate.
Exactly. Just thinking about over the past year, working with DPL and thinking about some of the feedback maybe you've gotten from advisors who have been engaging with us so far in the relationship, what would you say has been the biggest value add and just how advisors are currently leveraging DPL from the Wealthcare team?
I'd say there are probably two things that stand out to me. First would be the people at DPL and the level of support that you guys provide. You're true consultants and channel experts. And I'd say secondly, providing advisors an alternative to having a broker dealer if they they don't want to use one. There can be a lot of costs and hurdles associated with having a broker-dealer relationship. So some advisors will always need and benefit from a broker-dealer, while others might find that a fee-only model is best for them. DPL helps us with the latter. So I'd say those are probably the two biggest things that stand out to me right now.
Absolutely. That's a big one. When folks hear that they can drop licenses if they wish to, they don't need the broker dealer, they don't have to deal with FINRA any longer. They're pretty excited about that in itself, aside from what all we can do to help their clients and grow their businesses as well. So definitely a big factor of that. In your mind, and maybe some of the discussion you guys have been having internally, how do you see Wealthcare leveraging DPL moving forward?
At the heart of it, we're in a relationship and trust business, and something that we pride ourselves on. And any group that we bring in and to support our partner advisors are really an extension of our service model. So we plan to just expand upon our relationship with you guys, provide your service and expertise to more of our partner advisors if and when they need it, and just making them more aware of it.
Well, that's great to hear. And, we feel the same way. We take our relationships with our member firms very seriously, and we want them to be successful and long lasting. Just wanted to say thanks again, Russ, for being a great partner of DPL and for being on the podcast with us here today.
Likewise, Eric. I appreciate your partnership, and I appreciate you making this an easy podcast for me, and I certainly enjoyed talking with you.
Thanks for listening. To hear more advisor revelations, go to dplfp.com and subscribe on Apple, Google, and Spotify for updates.